sorry, Cassie.
Trust me, Carrie. You can trust me. Trust me, Carrie. You can trust me. Trust me, Carrie. You can trust me.
Alright, so for whoever's watching this video, I need to address something. Just get this off my conscience. I was supposed to be making a review for this movie. However, I've come to the realization that I review this movie, I'm going to be giving it praise or somehow provoking the idea that it's going to be okay watching it no matter what my rating's going to be. I gotta set the record straight. This movie's shit. Don't watch it. Don't watch The Cat in the Hat. And now you're wondering, well, why would I review that? It's not a cartoon, or it's not based on any cartoon, or a cartoon that matters. No, the reason why I would consider it is it's solely based on the man himself, Dr. Seuss. Because let's be honest, as far as illustrators go, he's made the biggest impact for children, aspiring, and established cartoonists as well. I was cartoonists like Frank Miller and Chuck Jones, so a great deal of respect to the author. Personally, I would prefer Chris Van Allsburg and Maurice Sendak's work over Dr. Seuss, but over all those guys, he's probably the most cartooniest of all those illustrators. Look at these illustrations and tell me they don't remind you of frames of animation taken out of context. It's probably why, as far as animated adaptations go, his work gets the better treatment. But we're not here to praise any animation. No, we're here to talk about the live-action adaptations. As far as those go, there's always going to be something to complain about that gets on the audience's nerves. The pop culture references, the fact that a bright palette on film looks cheesy, lots of padding, cause let's be honest, these aren't big books, kids. 3 live-action adaptations have been made out of Dr. Seuss's work, and I don't think a lot of people have bothered to care about the first one. But I did hear from the grapevine that an up-and-coming aspiring video reviewer named Dapper Dave has seen it. Take it away, Dave.
Thank you, Joey. So, the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T. I thought...
Yeah, well, he didn't have that much to say anyways. These are 5 reasons I've compiled that will establish that The Cat in the Hat is an unwatchable piece of garbage that should burn in video hell with 2 girls in 1 cup. So here it is, folks. Let's start with number 5.
Number 5. The color scheme.
This one's more of a nitpick, but its reason goes for a large number of Dr. Seuss adaptations in general. While the author is known for his use of bright colors, there's actually very few colors that are used in his books. Contrary to what most people think, being bright and flashy is very different from having a large variety of colors. I mean, especially since these books only have colors that you can count on the back of your hand. No, really, let's count how many colors that were used in The Cat in the Hat. There was red, blue, black, and white. And wouldn't you know it, 2 of those aren't even colors. Sure, there are shades of blue and red for certain objects, but the point is that they're relatively limited. Heck, having the Grinch green wasn't something Dr. Seuss made. He didn't even have that color in the original book. So those colors I've mentioned before in The Cat in the Hat aren't even in the movie, or at least barely used. Most of the time it's pastel yellows, greens, and purples of all things. Maybe so it complements the blues, reds, whites, and blacks in the films to make them more noticeable, but they really aren't. Red and white are used mostly for the cat, but as a whole it feels like they're just shoehorned in so that people wouldn't complain about it. Hey, you want to see what the cat looked like when he was in the book, but only creepier? Well, here you go, son, now get out of my face. Most people will probably say that I'm nitpicking since the story is what mattered. Oh, but face it, we'll get to that point later. And that the colors and visuals are the side things. But let me elaborate. Film is a visual medium. You have to look good visually and tell a story visually. If you want to see a film that has very little visuals in it, you can watch Atlas Shrugged. Yeah, they actually made a movie out of that. And apparently people did see it because it's getting a sequel. Every adaptation has to have a color collage of insanity. I understand that with adaptations, having the source material down to a T isn't necessary since the movie is its own creation, but seriously, every adaptation has done this so far. There's no need to remind us that it's bright and flashy because that's what it looked like in the book, or how we like to remember it as it is. That's why the book was there in the first place. This is a movie. I would honestly love if there was a Dr. Seuss adaptation just done in black and white so that it focuses on general shapes of these characters. But for now, we gotta settle with colors that should be staying in the Baka house.
Number 4. Too many plots and characters.
So, let's run through the basic story of this film. At the heart of this film, there's Sally and her brother Conrad. They need to keep the house clean for her mother's party. However, the problem is that her boss calls her in for work, even though it's on the same day as the party, and they need to stay put and have her— What the hell? I thought Yertle the Turtle wasn't in this story. But anyways, that's the babysitter who needs to take care of the kids while they're out. Not to mention that the evil boyfriend, played by Alec Baldwin, whose main goal throughout this film is to send Conrad to military school and marry the mother. 15 minutes into the movie, and then we get to our main character. And wouldn't you know it, this is when things get complicated. The cat shows up to show that the kids can have fun while the mom's away and not mess stuff up. Unfortunately, stuff does go awry, and locks that keeps the cat's paraphernalia wagon that he got off loan from the Grinch will open up and hell will come loose. The lock is on Conrad and Sally's dog. The evil boyfriend takes it to their mom to show that he saved the dog, which somehow convinces her that she should send Conrad to military school. Whatever. It's only so that we can get a car chase in the movie. So let's go back and retrace our steps for a second.
Sally and Conrad are trying to get a cat to teach them to have fun while getting a lock to a transportal from another dimension from a neighbor who wants to send one of the characters to military school, going to their mother who tries to keep her house clean.
I feel as if I forgot something. You know what? I did. The talking fish and the babysitter. Oh, and two things voiced by Dan Castellaneta. And you know what the best part about this? This doesn't take place over a couple of days. This is all within a couple of hours. Not only would this seem like too much for a film that's running time is barely an hour and a half, but it has no clue how to balance it all out. There's a moment in the film where I forget that the film's even about Sally and Conrad being more responsible.
No, this was my fault. I'll take the blame. Look, Mom will be home any second. Why don't you go upstairs?
I'm not going upstairs. I'm staying with you.
Really? Why?
2 reasons. 1, the stairs are destroyed. 2, this is just as much my fault as yours.
Oh, right! Because the movie was about them. For a minute, I could have sworn this film was falling to pieces like the cat balancing stuff on the ball.
Number 3. Mike Myers plays Beetlejuice.
So you'd imagine that the cat is a mischievous type of character. Most of the time we see him in posters and advertisements. He's essentially the image of Dr. Seuss. Heck, he was the mascot to literacy. So when the news was out, people were skeptical with Mike Myers playing the titular character. So yeah, I had my doubts myself too, but then I thought to myself, with Jim Carrey as the Grinch, that worked out pretty well. So maybe he can make it his own.
Cupcake a what? Cupcakeinator! Oh, this amazing device can instantly make cupcakes out of anything that you have in the kitchen. Wait a minute, did you say anything? Anything. Anything? Yes, anything. 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 I'll get you, and I'll look like a bloody accident.
So as far as this goes, the cat is being interpreted by Myers as a character that was popular in the 90s. A magical wise-ass who spews nonsense at 90s miles per hour. He usually helps the main character or makes matters worse. The Nostalgia Critic mentioned it in a video dubbing the character as fast-talking paranormal dicks. It includes the genie from Aladdin, Jim Carrey from The Mask, and Beetlejuice in, well, Beetlejuice. Basically, Mike Myers is playing the silly jokester who has a dark edge to him. Which actually goes back to Beetlejuice in a way that it's kinda creepy. Both are sent to try and help a protagonist, a boy and a girl. Both have dark motives. Both shout pointless obscenities and make impersonations to pop culture references.
Nice model!
Yeah, slow. It's better than the last name we had. Super hydraulic instantaneous transporter.
Oh, you mean...
No!
Both have essentially a black and white attire, and above all else, they spend the movie making Alec Baldwin's life hell. Now, for the style of humor, it worked for Michael Keaton since it made sense to the context of the film. However, that was a dark comedy, and Keaton was playing a sleazy salesman-type poltergeist. As far as the Cat in the Hat goes, being the image of Dr. Seuss, it's not going to work well. The only way that this could have worked is if someone from Beetlejuice was directly working to... Well, that explains a lot.
Number 2, the humor, or lack of.
Now, there's no doubt that Dr. Seuss knows how to work humor into his books. This can contribute to the fact that he was a cartoonist, having worked on World War II comic strips. As a matter of fact, looking back at the shorts like The Lorax or The Grinch, most of what makes it funny holds up even when I get older. Most of it's from visual gags and jokes that have more than one meaning to them. It's the essential material for a family film, for both the kids and the adults.
Please, I object in the name of the trees.
All complaints will be filed in this box, if you please.
Now when it came to the jokes in this film, I have no clue who they were trying to entertain. Like the abundance of plot and characters, jokes go left and right. It feels like I was watching Shark Tale when each scene tries to pack in 10 jokes at once. And then we get to what is not funny, to what is creepily trying to be humor for the adults. This includes flat out making toilet, sex, and slapstick humor that even the Three Stooges would look at and say, "Dude, what the hell is wrong with you?" Wouldn't it be hilarious to see the cat throw up on the kids? Or how about fixing a cow and having his butt crack show throughout the coat? The Baldwin neighbor picking his belly button while watching soft porn, and the mother of all nastiness and uncomfortableness, the cat referring to a garden hoe as another type.
Dirty hoe. I'm sorry, baby. I love you.
Come on, cat.
I can't explain this. These jokes are in this movie. I'm not making this up. It's like somehow they wanted to create the most nastiest jokes so they can get somewhat less nasty jokes in there. However, they just kept the nasty jokes in there as well. Now, humor has a way of being unpredictable. Making someone laugh is not a science. Not everybody goes through making jokes that make people laugh, and I accept that. But one thing all comedians and aspiring comics know is that it's important to make a joke that's right for the moment. I think this sketch from Key and Peele sums up what I'm trying to illustrate perfectly. So you have a doctor explaining to a jokester that his mom is going to be dying due to her weight. However, the jokester's taking it in a way like he's doing yo mama jokes.
Not only is your mother elderly, but also her ability to walk is currently being affected by her weight.
Oh, see, okay, it just got real.
No, I'm not insulting her. I'm trying to tell you...
Yo mama is so fat, when she go to the movie theater, bitch sit next to everyone.
However, when the doctor finally gets him to calm down, we have this touching moment.
Sorry.
I'm sorry that I lost my temper.
No, really, doctor. I guess I was just joking around because I know her condition is really serious, and I don't know. I guess humor is the only way I can really deal with it.
And then it's followed by this.
Really? I was not aware of that. That's interesting because she did not mention that to me in our previous conversation. Of course, it was difficult to hear her with my in her mouth. Snap, Mr. Lewis. Oh, snap.
You see, the situation didn't call for that moment. However, if you were to take it in a different context, it would be funny. I honestly feel as if these writers had no concept of that timing. How are you going to be the guy who will admit to writing this joke for a family film based on a Dr. Seuss book?
Number 1. Wasted potential.
I won't blame Brian Glazer, the producer of the previous live-action adaptation, The Grinch, to work on another live-action adaptation of Dr. Seuss. The movie made a lot of money. Critically, it wasn't a game-changer for family films, but it did give the Dr. Seuss adaptations a fresh take. I mean, we weren't seeing a lot of shorts like those produced by the Cat in the Hat Productions. Imagine, the cat is the mascot to the friggin' production company. Sure, there was the occasional show on PBS, but so far nothing huge. So when The Grinch came out in theaters, it gave faith to produce content for theaters again. Now, I'm going to admit that The Grinch had cringeworthy moments, but at least it added some substance to the original short story to make for an hour and a half by giving him a backstory and emphasizing Cindy Lou Who's childlike innocence. In the end, while watching Spencer Breslin and Dakota Fanning teach the kids to be more responsible, if the majority of the film wanted to focus on how much random crap they could fit on screen, attempting humor while denying what Dr. Seuss was all about, a simple but resonant story, I was appalled when I heard that this film was spent $100 million. $100 million could have been enough to reimagine a new movie that didn't need to have the Cat in the Hat involved. Somewhere in this film, you could have sworn that they didn't try to make a Cat in the Hat film. They could have made something else with all this pointless padding. Might as well have just made it a giant Universal commercial.
You mean like at Universal Studios?
The Cat in the Hat wasn't made to be a feature-length film. Maybe focus on a story that can focus on the character alone, like Seussical the Musical, or even Daisy Head Maisie. Instead, we settled on a confused film that couldn't be its own while staying faithful to the source material. I have this poem I wrote, it's got some rhyme in it. So I gave my 2 cents, and you're probably going to ignore what I have to say. Give this film a shot, maybe within this day. Now, I don't hope to change your opinion, and that it could stay the same way. But be cautious, and drop your expectations. That's my way. See, it's not that hard to do. So in short, if you do ignore my warnings, and you do see this film for yourself, make sure you go in with very, very low expectations. 'Cause that was my problem. I went in with very high expectations. I honestly went into this thinking that if The Grinch could stay faithful to its material while making it its own, the same would apply here. But with a confused script, with unnecessary plot, uncomfortable jokes, and a queasy set design, this film was the worst movie-going experience I have ever had since... Well, it's a moment of truth. Do I even need to say it?